Hey y'all, welcome to I Stand in Awe. My name is Melissa, and today I want to talk about the title is called Christian Olympics. And I came up with this title because I was kind of reflecting back when I was younger and watching the Olympics and watching the gymnastics section. I used to admire the greats, and one of them was Dominique Dawes. And I was so impressed how just anyone in general was able to balance on a balance beam. And it's so narrow. 4 inches. I had to look it up because I'm like, how tight is that? And 4 inches. And I had to make notes. Sorry if I'm looking down. 4 inches. The balance beam is like the size of a soda can. That's pretty much these are estimates. A cell phone, those are estimates because I know they're coming out big and small, different each year. Toilet paper, two debit cards, right? So they're balancing themselves on this balance beam, and this verse came to mind. I'm gonna read the NIV version, and it's coming from Matthew 7. And this is Jesus talking because it's all red letters, okay? So if you want to take your time and look for it, that's fine. But I'll read. Matthew 7:13 through 14, I'm going to read from. So I'm going to tie it all in together. It's going to make sense in the end. It says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many may enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." So I'm going to focus on the aspect of the narrow road leading to life. Anything besides that, it leads to destruction. It just takes you off your course, and how I see that in general is just keeping off your focus with God. But let me tell you where I was going with this balance beam thing. So when you think about it, they fall is pretty much destruction. Like, it hurts. You're gonna get an owie. But when I think about the narrow road us Christians have to walk, and disclaimer, of course, we know we're saved by grace, but you're still responsible for just staying on track. You can't just do whatever you do because you give your life to Christ. No, it should be getting better and stronger your walk with God. And it made me think about the things, for example, specifically to me. So I'm going to talk about myself. Um, there are certain disciplines we should keep as Christians. It's not something that'll send you to hell, but things like staying close to God through prayer, through fasting, through reading our Bible, worship, and things like that, right? So I remember I had a really, really bad problem with video games. So on your phone, you know how they have Garden Skates, Candy Crush. Trust me, I was addicted. They haven't made a video game anonymous yet, but trust me, back then I would have been first in line. Okay, it's just probably my generation, but stay tuned. I'm sure that's gonna come in the future. And I remember it would get to the point I would be on it for hours. I would be on it first thing in the morning. I would be on it in the afternoon. I'd be on it if I had a break, just some quiet time, pauses throughout the day. I would just maybe do a chore here and there, maybe cook dinner for the kids, and then I go back to play the game or playing a game in the middle while I'm cooking. It was bad, okay? And it got to the point where it took away my prayer time with God. It took away my disciplined reading. Um, it just was such a distraction. So again, this is talking about myself. I'm not saying that video games are a sin, but this was something God revealed to me where he said, delete it. And the funny thing is, it got so bad to the point where I was planning from like the time I woke up to my little daughter coming to me. And she said, "Mommy, what are we eating today?" And I look and it's like 3 in the afternoon. I said, "Oh my goodness, where did my time go?" So even simple things like just taking care of the family, it got in the way. The games got in the way. Okay? So imagine, you know, you have this flesh and blood that you're responsible taking care of. Imagine how God feels. Like, it took away his time. And so I just wanted to bring that to the light, because I think we should all sit back and reflect what things may be in the way of us spending and dwelling time with God. And this may be something you may want to speak about with God, and you'll spend a long time. It just goes back to that song that Jonathan Reynolds made called Make Room for You. I will make room for you. And we each have our things. No matter how disciplined or perfect we think we are as Christians, we each have our things that can stumble us, or possibly be something that takes too much of our time, and we might not even think it's that obvious. And it's always a good idea to just go back to God and ask him directly, like, God, you know, is there anything in my life right now that is a stumbling block to you, that takes away time? Some of it might not be that obvious. And I just wanted to share my story. And I'm interested in hearing about your story of what God revealed to you, because it's pretty funny when I think about it. And like, literally God delivered me from it, because he was like, delete it. And I gave the phone to my daughter. I was like braiding her hair, and I was like, just delete the game for me. And she looked up at me. She said, the games? You sure? I said, yeah. I gotta be obedient. And I'm not gonna lie to you. The taste out my mouth for that just went away. I never felt the need. I'm not gonna say never. I downloaded it again, but it didn't feel the same. It just like I felt to get rid of it again. But it took like weeks and months or whatever. But through that season, I did, you know, God and I did so much together. He worked through me in that season to do many things, and he needed me first to get rid of that. So I think of that balance beam of how narrow, how disciplined we have to be and continue to be for us to hear God, and for God to use us as a vessel, a fully committed vessel to something he has for you to do. So if you're listening to this and it resonates to you, amen, amen, amen. Have a good night.